guys, it is the morning of the second day of the second part of my Camino. I meant to make a video last night, but I didn't for a number of reasons, and so I'm doing it today instead. So, what happened? Well, since I last spoke, I carried on from the Church of San Miguel, went into Estella, had my lunch there. On the way I did actually meet my first Camino travelling companion of this leg, which was a guy called Sean, originally from Ireland, but now living in Birmingham. And yeah, he was a reasonable enough guy, but he wanted to press on. I was going to have my lunch in Estella, so we split up there, and I went around Estella to the very interesting Church of San Pedro, and then onwards, got a bit lost through the suburbs, but ended up at the famous wine fountain, and then a monastery of Irache, which is this huge abandoned monastery that they are doing up, and they're going to be giving it another purpose. So that was interesting. Outside, I met a guy called Alberto, originally Mexican, that lived 40 years in LA. And so we walked together, and he was a really good guy. He was a really cool guy, and yeah, got on well. So it's not all been alone. We wanted to walk on together, and I'm hoping perhaps to meet up with him today sometime, if we can. But he'd already got accommodation booked in the village before, where I'd got accommodation booked, so that wasn't going to happen that day. I pushed on up a very steep hill to Villamayor. I can't even remember. Monjardin de los Monjardin, which is the village behind. Can we see? Well, you can see the castle, yeah, and yeah, really pleasant place. And I got in. I did, according to the guidebook, I did 18 kilometers. According to my step counter, I did 22. I think a lot of that's the faffing around in the monastery and stuff, and also walking across Pamplona in the morning. But I was shattered, and I basically got in, showered, and then just crashed completely, and that was the best thing I could have done. In the evening, I thought I'd go up to the bar to write and to have some food, but there was a festival on. There's this big local festival which was really loud, so it meant kind of doing any videos were impossible, and also I didn't do a lot of writing, but I did meet a couple of other Peregrinos, a lady called Kim from the States, a Spanish guy. She worked for the State Department actually in the UN and stuff, which was quite interesting, and just retired. A guy called, now, let me get it, I think it was Gregorio. He was a Spanish guy in the Navy, actually, in the Spanish Navy on a frigate. And then there's a Portuguese guy who's cycling the Camino, and never learnt his name. And then what we did is, we went to a Jesus meditation that was run in one of the albergues. Not the most successful meditation I've ever been to because of the big racket going on outside. But you know what, it was quite pleasant. And at the end of the day, since this is going to be a spiritual thing, it's a good thing to do that. I got chatting with the people who run it. It was quite interesting afterwards. And it was nice because we all drank tea after, and that to me is what church should be about. And so, yeah. And so now I'm going to press on. I can't remember the name of the place I'm hoping to get to, but it's basically about 18 kilometers from here, so I'm hoping to do much the same. Oops. I'm hoping to do much the same as I did yesterday, but without falling over. Keep traveling. Buen camino.
I believe there's this place called
Hola. So I'm getting towards the end, I hope, of my second day, in the second part. Where am I? I am in the middle of nowhere, basically, and that's my fault. So what happened is I intended this morning to walk from Villamayor, where I stayed last night, to Los Arcos, and then onwards to a town called Torre del Rio. Rio del Toro, I can't remember which way around it is, whatever. And I did that, and it was a dead easy walk, to be honest. It was largely on the flat. It was pretty boring, a lot of it, but not unpleasant. And I did all that. And so when I got there, they were setting up for another festival, and I just remembered the headache I'd had from the night before. I said, I can't cope with another festival, and you know what, I've got the engine in me to go further. So I decided to go on to Viana, which is a further 11 kilometres, and not only is it a further 11 kilometres, but it is over a section that they call the knee breaker, because there's a lot of ups and downs in it. I don't know if that was the most sensible thing that I've ever chosen, but I did it for a couple of reasons. One is because I want to get to Burgos, and I've got to keep up the pace to get to Burgos. But two, I do want to challenge myself. And last time when I was on Camino, I did challenge myself for the first 3-4 days when I was working with Jackie, but after that, I'll be honest, I didn't. I just sauntered along, and it was very enjoyable. But there wasn't a great deal of challenge there. So this time I want to challenge myself, if not for the whole trip, for certainly a few days. And I've never done more than what is called a Brierley stage. So a Brierley stage is, the guidebook is by a guy called John Brierley, and he's divided the Camino up into 32 stages because there were 33 years in the life of Christ, which is theologically lovely, but a bit of a silly reason to do it, I think, in that. And his stages are between 20 and about 30 kilometres long. They vary. And today I've done more than a Brierley stage for the first time ever. And if I get to Viana, I'm sure I'm over the worst bit of the knee breaker, then I will have walked further than I've ever done in a day. So, let's see how it goes. When Camino, keep travelling.